Hello, Dr. Kit. Welcome to our presentation. This presentation is aimed to explain the cutting web tool application project by Team C. It is basically divided into two parts. That's the presentation. The first is showing the PowerPoint slides, which includes the sprint backlog items and the acceptance criteria. While the second part of this video, that's the demonstration, is to show the functionality of the cutting web application. Now moving on into the introduction aspect, which has to do with the sprint planning minute meeting. Basically, we started on March 3rd and we concluded on March 16th with 3 sprint backlog items we decided to commit. Now the very first is the admin add new tool target. The second is the tool selection screen, while the third sprint item is the admin modify tool target. Moving on to the next slide, where we have the sprint backlog items acceptance criteria. I'm starting with the first one, which is sprint 1. That is the admin add new tool, which simply allows the entry of tools dimension. It simply gives the admin confirmation that the item was correctly added, and there are 3 steps in the process of adding a new tool to the database. The first is add tool with attributes of different parameters such as the outer diameter, the pressure range, the temperature range. The third criteria also involves add target node to cloth, which simply allows the link between the tool which the tubulars are cut by it. While the last criteria for the first sprint is to add link between tables. That simply involves the combination of the cut table. The second item is the tool selection screen, which simply allows a client to search for a desired tool in order to be able to perform a query by entering the desired parameters. This desired parameter simply involves the tool temperature and pressure, which ranges are the well conditions in which the tool is known to cut reliably in order to achieve and give the desired result expected by the client. And also the second criteria there is to display the result as a table for the user to see and also compare with his or her choice for his expectations. Moving on to the next slide, we have the admin modify tool, where you can easily modify your tool data, modify your target data. Should be able to modify target and tool data linking together, and as well get a result of the combination of the tool and the target data via a dialog text box. So this is simply the end of the slide presentation. Now we'll be moving on to the web application to see how these functions play out. Thank you. So now we are in the cutting web application tool, and I'm going to log in as the admin. I type in my username. I also enter the password, then click on the login button. Oops, username and password did not match, so I'm going to retype that again. I must have mixed it up. Password, click on the login button. Yes, so my credentials are correct, they are simply intact, so I simply have access into the web page. Right now we are presently in the cutting tool selection page. and we have existing parameters for our target tubular. I'm still coming back on this page to explain it further. But looking at the environment, we have features like the home page, the about us. The cutting tool selection is underneath the home page. The about us is a different link entirely. The contact us, the add to tubular data, and on we also have the modify tool, tubular data, and here is the logout feature as well. So we'll be starting with the very first sprint, which is the add to tubular data. I'm going to click on it, and it takes me to the page where I can add new tool. And within this page, there are 3 steps. There are basically 3 steps in the process of adding a new tool to the database. The very first is the tubular form. I can use the input tubular form. I can also use the input tool form, and likewise I can use the tool stroke tubular link. So I'm going to start with the very first by entering my parameters for the tubular form. So now I'm going to enter my parameters for the outer diameter. I simply want to add 1.31 for my outer diameter, and for the inner diameter I simply want to have 1.048. While the width, I want it to be 1.700. Then I can click on the submit button to submit my tubular form. The system simply returns back a confirmation message telling me that the tubular is being added. The tubular has been added. So I click on the OK button and scroll down. For the input tool form, I can also add a tool of my choice. Outer diameter. My outer diameter, I decide to have 1.770. My mini pressure for the PSI, I want 150. The maximum pressure, I chose to have 4,500. Minimum pressure that I want for the tool, I want 25 degrees Celsius. Then the maximum temperature should be at the range of 140 degrees Celsius. And you click on the submit button. The system returns back a confirmation message: tool added. Okay, the tool has been added. And I scroll down. So right from here, I can see that we have existing tools, likewise existing tubulars. But then the one that we just created, it is the last one, which represent the input tool form that we just added. While for the tubular, it is right here. This is my outer diameter, 1.312, 1.048, and my 1.17. So this is for the tubular. So the last part of creating my table is to select both the input tool form and the input tubular form together, and the link button will simply allow me to combine these tables together, which will be transferred into the database. So I can select the last option of my input tool that I just created. Likewise, I could also select that for the tubular, and I click on the link button. It simply tells me selected cuts added to tool. So this is my confirmation message that these both parameters have been combined together and added to the tool table. Click on OK. Now this is the part whereby we have successfully demonstrated the add new tool and tubular data. Now we'll be moving on to the modify tool and tubular data. So right here we demonstrate the modified tubular form, which comprises of the tubular form and the tool form, likewise the create tubular links, and lastly the stored tools to tubular links. These are the functions that we can actually carry out within the modified tubular stroke tool data. So we start with the first one, that the modified tubular form. We want to see how a client can actually modify the different tubulars from the drop-down list, which has been populated within the cutting web application. So I'm going to select any tubular of my choice. Let's say I choose the first one, and then it fills them up in the parameters. For my outer diameter, I choose to modify it to, let's say 2.174. My inner diameter, I simply want 1.072, and the weight, I would like to have it as 7.91, and you submit. It gives us a confirmation message that the tubular has been modified. Let's check this out. This is tubular is selected. Let's go and see if it has been modified. Okay, scroll down. So within the create tools to tubular links, that is where the modified data will be stored, will be assigned. So the very first stop here is for the inbuilt tool, while this part here is for the tubular. And so right here, this is it, the very first one that I modified. My outer diameter 2.174, the inner diameter 1.072 inches, and the weight 7.91. Now let's also demonstrate it for the tool form, how we can modify it. Select a tool. I want to modify the very first data. Once I select it, it fills up the entire parameters. My outer diameter in inches, I want my outer diameter to be 1.382. The minimum pressure, that's the PSI for the tool by which the well is going to cut into it. Minimum pressure, I want it as 120. Maximum pressure, I change it to 1,500. Temperature, I want it as the minimum, I want it as 25 degrees Celsius, while the maximum temperature should be at 100 degrees. And I click on the submit button. I have a confirmation message: tool modified. Please recreate tool and tubular links below. Okay. And I scroll down to search for the data that I just modified, both for the tool and for the tubular. So for the tool, I select for the tool. I have my first, which is 1.382, while for the tubular is right here. Then scroll down to now carry out the linking together. Once I click on the link button will definitely just allow me to combine the tables together, to cut the tables together. Selected cuts added to tool. Okay. And I'm going to observe that once I've done that and have the confirmation message, my tool has been stored. It has been modified. The modified data has been stored underneath the tool tubular links. So these are the modified data for the tools, while these are the modified data for the tubular. Now we can proceed to the next, which is the tool selection page. The tool selection page. That's by clicking on the home button. From the tool selection page, user can enter parameters and the appropriate cutting tools are displayed if they exist. User's feedback is also given in the case of incorrect data or if no tools are found. So right here, I can scroll down to check all the parameters that is needed from a user before you can actually get your desired tool. So right here, I'm going to start from the target tubular by selecting any tubular of my choice. Let's say I start with the first option and try to demonstrate that. Basically, what would normally happen is that the tool is lowered. The tool is lowered down the well inside the tubular it is going to cut. Hence, the tool outside diameter must be less than the tubular inside diameter. So I'm going to also specify the well pressure. The well pressure at cut depth in PSI. Likewise for the well temperature and also for the minimum restriction. And in this case, for the well pressure and the well temperature, they have different ranges and their conditions must be suitable for it to have a reliable cut. And also, one must note that too high pressure or too high temperature will not allow the tool to cut deeply into the tubular. It won't be reliable. So for my well pressure, I'm going to specify say 150 psi. The temperature, I will go with 100 degrees Celsius, while the minimum restriction I will go with 5.631. Then I click on the search button and it returns back a tool that is available from the database. That is the outer diameter 1.382. The minimum pressure that is available for this tool is 25 degrees Celsius. The maximum temperature 100 degrees Celsius. The minimum pressure within the range that I specified 120 psi, while the maximum pressure is 1500 psi. So I will make use of this tool. Now this is basically how the client can select a tool. Now let's also look at a situation whereby the tool is not available, probably through incorrect data or non-availability of a desired parameter that is being specified by the client. So we're going to take another tool entirely, another target tool, tubular entirely. Let's demonstrate the second option. I select that the outer diameter 1.38, inner diameter 1.257, and the weight is 1.7. For the well pressure, I have to go with 150 psi. The temperature, I simply want 30 degrees, while the minimum restriction should be less. Should the tool outer diameter must also be less well minimum restriction to travel down the well to the cut point. This minimum restriction is often the inside diameter of a safety valve. So my minimum restriction, I can have maybe about 4 inches, 4.510, and then I click on the search button, and it returns to tell me, sorry, no tools available for these parameters. You don't have a tool available for these parameters. So basically, this is how the cutting tool selection page functions. This is how it works to help the client in selecting the desired tool of his choice. Alright, so that concludes the part of the tool selection page. Thank you.